Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be making this dress that you see on the screen. So this is the length of my fabric. It's a very small fabric, so I'm going to fold it into two at the middle like this, and then after that I'm going to fold it into four so that I can get my front and back measurements. So here I'm just coming up close to show you the side seam so you know how it was folded in case you didn't understand what I just did. I'm going to be drafting on the right hand side this part since it's center fold. So let's get started. So first of all, I'm just going to be showing you the length of the fabric. It was 35 and I think the width of the fabric was about 25.5 inches, but the style in the beginning I even had to reduce it. You see that as we are going, so you don't even need much fabric for this style. So first we are going to be making the neck hole depth and width. Like we're going to be making the neckline. So I have the width for this is going to be 3 inches and the depth 3 inches, like the basic neckline depth and basic neckline width for the front. So that you've squared that up, you're going to curve it like this, and then for the back I'm going to be marking 1 inch down for the depth of the back neckline, and I'm going to be curving that as well. That's all you just need to do for this part. So after that I just came down my tape by 7 inches. This is going to be the depth for the basket design for the style. Then for the width I'm going to be extending it by 9 inches. That is going to come down from my shoulder with just 1 inch. You can make yours as wide as you want or as deep as you want depending on your preferences. So I'm going to square that up like this, like how you do for your neckline. Then I'm going to curve it. If you want the design to be square at the shoulder, so you can do that. If you want to be curved as well, you can do that. So I'm just going to curve that out. Then the next thing will just be to cut it out so we can make the yoke with the straps. So when you are done cutting, the next thing would be to mark the curve at the down part of the style. So I came down by 16 inches, and from there is where I'll start making the curve to the end of the dress. Like I said before, you could make yours as short or as long as you want it, depending on your preferences. But you just have to curve it at that end to get that shape for the dress. I'm going to be cutting that out as well. The next thing I will be making is the yoke for the basket weaving. I'm going to be using a full cardboard. So I folded it into two, and I'm going to fold it again into another two, making it 4. And that is how I'm going to be drafting the neckline. Please, if you have brown paper, I'd advise you to use brown paper because this cardboard is just somehow, it started breaking at some point when I was stitching the straps on it. So if you have brown paper, pattern paper, I advise you to use that one because I've used that before and it worked better than this cardboard. But whatever you have, all you have to do is just to handle it carefully when you start sewing the straps on. You'll see very soon. So I'm just going to place that part that I cut out earlier on the cardboard, center front, facing the center front, and I'm going to give it ½ inch allowance around the curve and then cut it out. So after you finish cutting it out, you are going to be redrafting the neckline on the paper that you've made. So this is just me marking the 3x3 mark for the front neckline and also marking the 1 inch depth for the back neckline. Okay, so after you've made the curve, I'm just going to be cutting out the back first, and then I'm going to be notching it at this corner as you see me notching. It's just going to allow me to place it correctly when the time I've reached to join it back. So it's just me ruling the lines on the 4 sides to mark the shoulder and the center front. So this is what the style is looking like for the front and also for the back. After ruling the marks for the shoulder, I'm going to be ruling the center back line and also the center front line. So now I'm just going to be arranging that the shoulder line as, I don't know if you can understand the style from here. This is the front piece and this is the back piece. So remember I cut the back piece neckline before, so now I'm just going to cut out the front neckline again by folding it into two like this and then recutting it. Once that is done, it should look like this. So now it's time to start making our marks that we are going to be using to join the basket. But don't forget to notch it like I'm doing now. Okay, so now I'm just going to be marking my box spaces for the basket design. For this design, I use 2 inches by 2 inches. So if you saw the stand in the beginning and maybe it's looking too small for you, you can make yours 3 inches. You can make yours 1.5 inches depending on how big you want the boxes to be. So from the center front, I'm just going out by 2 inches on the left and the right hand side, and I'm going to be connecting that together. You see that in a few seconds. So these markings that I'm doing now, I'm going to be transferring it to the back as well, like this, and I'm just going to be connecting the dots together to form straight lines. Okay, so now I've finished marking the straight lines, and I'm going to be marking the other lines that's going to make this box complete. So now I'm going to be marking my 2 inch just like I did before, from the middle point of the shoulder to the other side. When I'm done with that, I'm going to be connecting the dots together, and this is going to be forming my grid lines. At this point, I should have known that this box is going to be small because I wanted mine to be spacious, but it's looking small already here, and this is 2.2 inches. Like, this is 2 inches by 2 inches. So if you want yours bigger, look at it, you can make yours 3 inches or 2.5. If you want yours smaller than this, you can make it 1.5 or 1 inch, just anything that floats your boat. So after I'm done with that, now is the time for hard work. I'm going to be connecting the straps on it. At this point, if you're not, we are not going to use this one again, so I'm just showing you how it looks like. If you want the material to also form the lines, you can cut this up and use it to form the lines, or the scarf fabric to form the lines. But I'm going to be using black fabric to make my own box design. So I'm just measuring it to find out the longest part, so I'll know how to cut the black fabric. So I'm just going to be cutting long strips from the black fabric like this, and I'm just going to be sewing that on top of the cardboard. My long strips were about 1.5 inches wide. If you want yours thinner than this, you can use 1 inch. If you want yours fatter than this, you could use 2 inches or more, but I think 1.5 inches would be best, or 1 inch. Now it's time for sewing. I've taken it to my sewing machine, and I'm just going to be lining it up and sewing it directly on the cardboard. This is where the work is. So after trying to figure out how to place the cardboard yoke on my sewing machine so I can start sewing this, I just started sewing it. So to sew this on, you just have to fold in the left hand side and the right hand side like this, like I'm doing in the video, and then you have to fold it again like this. Okay, then you fold it again and then start sewing it on the cardboard yoke. Also, don't forget to back stitch, like lock the stitch. This is me after I finished doing all the sides. So now it's time to do the other lines. I never know which one it is. Is it vertical or horizontal? So you're going to be joining every line except this back line, because you're going to be opening it up at that part, just so you can put the button when you're done. So I finished joining it. God, this video makes it looks as if I was very fast. The cardboard I started breaking. I'm just showing you my struggles here so you understand my pain. But see the back line, I did not stitch on that side. This is where I'm going to be opening it up. Lord have mercy. So let's see me do that in a few minutes. Okay, so after you open the center back, we are going to be piping that as well with black fabric. So you can just place it at the back of the cardboard and sew along. Please do not remove the cardboard, because if you remove it, it will be very weak for you to sew this black fabric on top of the yoke like I'm doing now. Don't worry about the paper. When you wash this cloth once or twice, the paper is going to pieces inside. So do not worry about that. It's not going to kill anybody. So just sew it like this down on the back side. Let the right side of the fabric be facing the back of the cardboard. Well, I'm sure you get what I'm saying when it's time to explain. Sometimes it's difficult. So when you stitch it like this, the next thing will just be to turn it to the right side and sew it on again. So after you've piped the back, you're going to do it for the other side as well. And the next thing will be to pipe the neckline as well. I'd advise you to cut your fabric on bias, or maybe buy a bias strip for this, maybe, and use. Wait, that's a good idea. You can use a bias strip for this basket weave design. Oh, I just thought of this now. So after sewing it on the back of the cardboard, you are going to turn it to the front. Look at my cardboard breaking now. Hi, this part stressed me because I'm sure you know how narrow it can be. You just have to be very careful when sewing this on. And if you are using a bias strip, that will make it very easy for you as well. So I finished doing that. I'm just going to be turning it now on the front side. You have to be very careful with this side, and you have to be sewing it gently so that it will not destroy the paper. Okay, so when you're done with that, you're going to be carefully joining it to the blue fabric, the Ankara fabric that you've cut out before. And before you join that, you have to notch the Ankara fabric at the midpoint and at the shoulder seam. You see what I mean by midpoint and shoulder seam soon. That way you can line up the notches from the cardboard that you made earlier, and I can line it up to the Ankara fabric. Okay, so yeah, I'm marking the midpoint and I already marked the shoulder seam. So now the next thing will be to carefully pin this cardboard yoke to the Ankara fabric. So you're going to open it up like this, and you start from the midpoint to start pinning. So the notch you made at the center front of the cardboard, the basket weaving yoke, is what you're going to be lining up with the notch you made at the center front of the Ankara fabric. So when you line them up perfectly, you're going to pin them together. Then the next notch that will be lining up is the one at the shoulder seam from the yoke of the basket weave to the Ankara fabric as well. So as we line up the second shoulder, here I'm looking for the shoulder seam notch so I can line it up. So I've lined the three part, now it's left for the back. So I'm just going to flip the fabric open like this and then continue pinning from the back. At the back, I'm going to join the two openings together and pin it to the back notch. Then the rest of the fabric that is left, you just pin them to the remaining piece of the cardboard. After you've pinned the notches, those other side that is left on the cardboard like this, you just pin it to the Ankara fabric. So when you're done pinning, you're going to be sewing it like so. And after you finish sewing it, you are going to carefully remove the cardboard. You could soak yours in water if you like, but I'm just going to be peeling it off directly from the yoke like you see me doing in the video. Okay, so here I finished peeling it off and I'm about to mark my body measurement on this butterfly dress so that I can start sewing it down. At this point, you can reduce the Ankara fabric if the shoulder length is too long. You can try it to see how long it is. Here I'm just measuring it to confirm all my measurements again. Okay, so when you folded it like this, the next thing will be to take your measurements. I'm taking from my shoulder to bust length, which is 10. This is also going to be serving as my armhole depth. So from there, I'm going to be marking my bust measurement divided by 4. Bust measurement is 37 divided by 4. I'm going to mark that down. Also, I'm going to be coming down from the shoulder as well to my waist measurement. Then I'm going to indicate that with my chalk. And then I'm going to measure my waist measurement divided by 4. Okay, so after marking my waist measurement, I'm just going to be coming down from my high waist there to 8 inches, and I'm going to be marking my hip measurement divided by 4. Then I'm going to connect these dots. Since it's an Ankara fabric, you're going to be adding 1 inch allowance to this measurement for ease when you wear this. Then also for my hip measurement, I'm going to come down by 4 inches, and this is where I'm going to be stopping my seam line. Remember to leave some space at the end of the fabric, because this is what you're going to use to join the gathers to the Ankara fabric. So I've marked it out. I hope this is visible this time. So you do it for the other side as well, and then you open it up and you're going to pin it down. Then take it to your sewing machine and sew it down. Okay, so I think I mentioned it before, but don't forget to top stitch when you finish adding your basket yoke to the fabric. I'm just showing you here so that you'll not forget that. And also I've stitched it down my body measurement and just zoom this so that you can see it. So the next now will be to add the ruffles at the end of the Ankara fabric. So you just get your fabric, your black fabric, whichever fabric you want to add to the Ankara, and then you're going to be dividing it. For mine, I think the length was about 8 inches, but this 7 because I've already hemmed the end. So this was even big for me. You can make yours smaller if you want your ruffles to be smaller. I later reduced mine, but if you want it longer, just based on your preference. So you just use a pin to attach the ruffles. You pleat it around. You could gather it anyhow you want to attach it. But you can use a pin to secure it first before you take it to your sewing machine. So I started from the downside because, as you can see, the black fabric is not joined together, so that when I finish pleating, I'm going to meet the end there. So I finished pinning it like this. This is how I pinned it. I didn't gather it so much. If you want yours to have a lot of gathers, you can do that as well. So I finished pinning it here, and the next now will be to sew it. Remember, this pin is going to go around the fabric, like all over the raw edge of the Ankara. This is how the dress is looking like. So at this point, the dress is done, but this is just an extra something I wanted to add to the dress. You can see these straps I'm adding. They're like belts. You know, in those bubble tight waist dresses, how they have belts in like inside the dress that you can use to tie around your back when you wear the dress. You know, this is an Ankara fabric, so it doesn't stretch much. So I could not shape the waist to like the tightest measurement I wanted, so I had to add this belt. So, and the way I added it was just by, you know, the seam lines when I mark my body measurement. I'm just using my white chalk so that you can see it again. This is the waist measurement I'm just redrawing with my white chalk. So at that waist point, I'm going to take my razor or my seam ripper to just loosen the seam there on both sides, and then I'm going to insert this black strap in between the fabric. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but I think yes, like in between the fabric, and then I'm going to pin it down at that point and sew on top of it again. But this black fabric could be inside the dress, like in between it. That's how I'm going to be doing it. Then when I finish stitching it, the black fabric is going to be inside the dress, and then when you wear it, you can just use your hand to just tie it at your back, like how it is in boo-boo dresses. Now I've passed the fabric inside the dress. I don't know if you can see the space there. I'm just going to like insert it inside that space, but from the inside. This is me trying to explain it. I don't know what I was doing here, but I was trying to explain it so I can understand what is happening. So this is the waist measurement. I'm going to put it inside of it, and then when it's inside, I'm going to sew on top of it. So that's what I'll just be doing. So after I've successfully passed it through, this is me using my other hand to pass it from the opening by the side. I'm going to be securing it with a pin when I'm done passing it through. You do it for the other side and then stitch it down using that same seam line that we used at first to stitch down our body measurement. After I saw this belt design with for bobo dresses, I decided to use for my butterfly dresses that I made with Ankara, because it just helps you to have that singed waist effect. Okay, so now I'm done with the dress. This is what it's looking like at first. Here the sleeves were very long, if you notice well, so I had to lose it again and reduce the sleeve because it was very long for me. This is what it's now looking like. And if you wonder why the material looks different, this is a material that I made when I was learning how to make tie-dye and batik, so it did not come out very well, but I decided to still use this for this style. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more. I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.